Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of Randumb Behavior. I'm Potter.
And I'm Al.
And today we'll be talking about
Round the world travel.
round the world travel.
That's slightly better.
Well, you just told me that you just came back from like a kind of world traveling trip, right?
Yeah.
How was that? Like, how did you prepare for that? Because how long were you gone for?
Okay, so I guess I was gone for about 7 months, and it was really a very reckless thing to do. I had quit my job previously, and I had always wanted to go be like a vagabond around the world.
Oh, the song.
Like, yeah,
No.
just to travel.
Okay.
So for 7 months, and I decided to go visit about 12 countries.
Nice.
Within that time frame. So I went to Colombia, Peru, Chile, and then I went to Spain, then France, and then down to South Africa, and then to Nepal, and then Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, Philippines, and then I eventually had a trip with my family in Japan.
That is way more than 12.
Okay, I can't keep track. I also had some layovers in certain countries as well, but they were very short.
Well, you said that you were doing this for what? Like, you said it was like 7 months. How long did you stay in each place?
I made a rule to basically stay in each place for about 2 weeks because I like settling in the place, getting to absorb the culture and whatnot. If you like stay in a place for just a couple of days, you don't really get that good feel of the location. So basically more or less like 2 weeks. However, I did only stay, but there was just one exception. I only stayed in Spain and France 1 week each because it was just like really expensive.
Do you think that 1 week was actually worth
I think it was worth it, but I think Spain, I wish I'd stayed much longer.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty cool. It wasn't that expensive actually.
Like,
but Paris was actually very
Did you
expensive.
go around all of Spain, or did you just stay in a certain portion?
I basically stayed in Madrid, so the capital.
Okay.
But I was able to go visit Toledo, which is like about an hour and a half away from Madrid. And that was pretty cool. It's a medieval city.
Like north?
I think it's south.
South.
Yeah, it's an old city. Yeah, it used to be the capital of, I think, Spain back then.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, more or less 2 weeks, and I just like the idea of feeling that you're like living there for a bit. You kind of settle in, you get to meet friends, and you get to hang out with them, and then you kind of go into a routine. The thing is, what I really don't like about traveling is traveling itself. I hate moving.
Okay.
So there's just so much logistics involved. You have to pack up. You gotta go ride a bus, or you gotta go on an airplane, and then you always have the anxiety whenever like you're traveling. But once you get to a place and you like settle in, it's great. Like, it feels comfortable. You know. Like,
did you fly to each location?
More or less, yeah. So I flew to pretty much each location.
So your passport must have been like every single
Yeah.
How much did you save up for this entire? That's what I would want to know, because if I was to do something like that, I'd need to save up a certain amount of money, right?
Yeah, of course.
Like, what would you recommend?
I'd say I think my trip was pretty reasonable. You can go a lot cheaper than this, but I mean, it was more or less about 15 grand.
15 grand total.
Yeah.
So in each place, did you set off a certain amount that you wanted to spend? Or?
Yeah, more or less. I had like an ideal, and I picked certain locations more for how it was more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
I know Southeast Asia is pretty affordable, and Latin America is pretty affordable. The only exception was Europe, and so I knew I had to pay a little more for that, for the lodging, for the food. I mean, Paris was absolutely expensive. Like, a freaking dish was like freaking 30 euros. Like
30
a meal.
Like, so, because a euro compared to $1 is almost
more or
like
less the same.
Right?
Yeah.
So basically each meal is like $30.
Yeah.
Okay.
$30. But I mean, you could go cheaper. I mean, you could go to a grocery store. I mean,
You can
there's
make your own
I
food
mean,
if you want to.
so how I kind of like to explain this is like, it's kind of like an RPG, man. Like, right? You know?
Okay.
Okay.
Explain that.
So you get to choose and pick where you want to go. It's an open world. You get to choose where you get to stay. You can do couch surfing if you want to.
What did you do?
I did one couch surfing, and then I did one Airbnb, but most of the time I did hostels, and I did hotels as well.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, like, I was traveling alone, and so being alone was like, there was a lot of anxiety with that, and I mean, there was also some good solitude as well. I like being solitary at times, but I like also to hang out with people, meet new people, and share stories and whatnot. And so
each hostel costs different prices.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And so more or less, I went to a hostel, and a hostel is a great way to really talk to people, talk to other travelers. They're pretty much in the same boat. I mean, they're also solo travelers as well, and so they want to talk to you and exchange information, exchange stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it depends on the country. So if the hostel is located in Europe, it's going to be like probably about maybe 50 euros or 30 euros per night. If you're staying in like Southeast Asia, you can easily get away with paying only like maybe $7.
Nice.
Or $8.
Well,
and
to them, that's probably expensive.
And
though.
then also depends on, which kind of room do you want in the hostel? Do you want to be in a room filled with 12 people? Well, you can pay like only maybe $5 for that. But if you want to be a more in a smaller group, maybe 6 beds per room, or 4 beds, or even like 2 beds, you pay a little more for that.
What was your preference?
More or less cheaper.
So the more people, the better.
More people, the better. And sometimes in cases where like there would be like 12 beds in the room, sometimes I would be like the only one there, because I think a lot of people are deterred by the amount of beds in the room, and so they're like, I don't want to be in that area. And so sometimes like there would be more people in a smaller room than in a room I was in, which was bigger.
Okay.
So which was kind of interesting. So, but and it would be cheaper too.
And it's to your benefit.
But at the same time, you also have to be very, you have to be very cautious of hostels as well. I mean, it's great to save. If you want to save money, go to a hostel, but of course, it's not going to be a hotel. So you won't have the room to yourself, and you have to make sure you have your own lock. You get a locker, but you don't get a lock, and so you make sure your stuff is safe and stuff. And
does the lockers fit your luggage?
Not always, and so my luggage will be lying around, but
you would have it locked up,
or be locked up. Yeah, most of the time, be locked up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but most of the time, everyone's in the same boat, and they're like, everyone has this kind of benefit of the doubt for people, and so everyone tends to be pretty trusting.
Well, that's good.
Which is good,
yeah,
and which is great. And I've been in hostels where there were no locks on the doors.
Like the door entering the hostel room.
Yeah.
Oh.
The door to enter the hostel, and the door entering the hostel room.
That sounds like a scary movie.
It's just like, yeah, but it depends on the country. If you're in like places like South Africa, you better make sure you have a secure hostel, because where I stayed, it was Cape Town. Okay. That had the 3rd highest homicide rate in the world. So I understood the dangers of all these countries, like the levels of dangers in the countries, and so I made sure to be safe in certain regions, and then I was a lot more relaxed in other regions, especially like Asia, where it tends to be a lot more trusting, I think. I mean, in Nepal, that hostel I talked about, where there was basically unlocked doors everywhere, that was Nepal, and like everyone's just
like doing whatever.
Yeah, doing whatever. Okay. There's no sense of like anyone coming into your room. And,
like no need. It's kind of like a
killing you.
college dorm room where
Exactly.
everyone just leaves their doors open.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone just leaves their luggage there. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, oh, if someone peeks into your room, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, there's no one here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go look for someone else that can hang out.
But I think that's one thing you have to be prepared about traveling, is that you need to do research. Don't go into a country not knowing what to expect.
True.
I understood the dangers of going into Colombia. I understood that there were like those FARC rebels, leftist rebels, still fighting the government. There are possibilities of kidnappings in Colombia.
There are possibilities of kidnapping everywhere.
Exactly. And so there's always a sense of danger anywhere. You just have to be very smart about where you're located, how you're getting to somewhere, like what are the best options you take.
Yeah.
It's a great RPG.
And
so
you couldn't really
go.
use your phone the whole time either. Did you like buy, because people, they'll buy SIM cards or whatever for like 2 weeks, or prepaid phone cards, or just purely rely on Wi-Fi. What was your method of trying to stay communicated with the world?
Yeah. I mean, there's all the hostels have Wi-Fi.
Which is good.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And there's always that option of getting a SIM card. You don't necessarily have to get one, but it's probably best, if you're traveling a lot. They tend to be pretty cheap around the world, especially in Southeast Asia. I mean, I got a SIM card for about maybe, I forget, I think it was like around $7.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe more, a little more than that, but it's not expensive at all.
Can you just get like
or
one
maybe $20
international SIM card? And
you can use your carrier.
You can use your carrier.
Yeah,
I
I had Verizon, but Verizon sucks.
Yeah, I have Verizon too.
Verizon sucks when it comes to roaming.
Well, that's why you don't do roaming. You do like the international phone plan, where like you only activate it when you need it, as long as you have like the newer plans.
You could.
But it's like $10 each day that you use it.
Yeah,
so
that's the norm. Like it's like $10 like every day. It's like that sucks. Like if you're traveling for 7 months, was that like that's 30 days per month, and so that's
300
times 7 is like 2,000.
And that's if you're using your phone every single day.
Yeah.
But or you can buy like those international, like the modems, right, where you can just use like wireless.
Or you can get, I think, Sprint, or is it T-Mobile, and you can get like free roaming, but it gets you 2G network.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which would technically be fine for a lot of areas.
That's actually fine.
What they use, right?
But yeah. But I think the biggest thing that I got, at least in terms of survival, going around the world, is your phone is so fucking important.
Yeah, I get that.
It really is. Am I allowed to curse?
You can.
Okay,
you can
sorry.
fucking curse if you want to.
Oh, okay. Fuck yeah. Okay.
So you were traveling, but you weren't using your own carrier. That's 7 months of phone bills here that you were paying for. Did you suspend your phone line or something? Or
no, I mean, I turned off the network.
You just turned off the network,
yeah,
but you're still getting like a monthly phone bill.
Yeah.
Because you can actually, I found out that you can suspend your number. It turns off your network for a certain amount of time until you're ready to like use it again. Like you can be like, oh well, I'm going to be traveling the world. I'm not going to be using my number for a while, but I still want it when I come back.
You could do that. But at the same time, why would you do so if like the phone is part of your survival? Because in case something happens, like you may not be able to get a SIM card, or you may not be able to get Wi-Fi. It's best just to have an option. I don't think you should suspend your phone just for 7 months.
So how are you paying for your phone bills?
Oh yeah, so what you can do is that you can allow like a friend
to do it for you,
or I mean, or you could pay it online. It's just
oh yeah, true.
You can do everything. That's the great thing about the 21st century, people, is that you can do everything online. You could book flights, you could get hotels. I mean, all I needed was my phone. Technically, I didn't need to bring my laptop. I brought my laptop, but I hardly used it.
Oh,
hardly used it at all. You just need a phone. You just need a phone to book hostels, hotels, Airbnb. You can even use your Uber, Lyft with your phone. Pay off your bills.
They have Uber and Lyft
in some places, yeah.
Or is it just Uber?
It's Uber.
It's just
It's just
Uber.
Uber. Lyft, I don't think has
Like an international type.
expanded internationally.
Okay.
So there's Uber in Colombia. There's Uber in Chile. There's Uber everywhere.
I know there's Uber in Europe because we've used it, or we saw it in like Italy when I was out over there, but we never used it. There were certain areas banned Uber from being used.
Yeah.
They say that you're only supposed to use, like, I think it's the white taxis. Don't hop in the black taxis. Don't hop in like an Uber vehicle because
Why gotta be black?
I don't know. Because they're Italian, I guess.
Whatever.
But yeah, it was like they're basically, I guess they're trying to make sure that no one was getting the human trafficking like was around that.
Yeah.
So
No, that's. I mean, yeah. Just
be careful.
Just be
what
careful.
You do and keep certain
that's
valuables on
why
you.
going to hostels is great, because you get to hear sometimes horror stories from other travelers. They get to hear, and they know information. They get to hear information, and they share it with you, or they experience something and they share it with you.
Yeah.
And so that's why going to a hostel is great, because just like all these young people, like, who are open to communication, and they just tell you stuff.
Well, how about hostels compared to couch surfing? Because you said you also did some of that, right?
Yeah, only one time. But I decided, well, I actually like the hostel.
You like the
environment.
hostel environment better.
Yeah. You can do couch surfing,
Which is a lot
but
cheaper, isn't it?
It's free.
Oh, it's free.
Yeah.
Okay.
But sometimes it could get sketchy, and
How so?
I mean, like, there's sometimes, like, you have to be careful with couch surfing, though. Like, I wouldn't really recommend couch surfing that much. You can do it, and there's definitely a good number of people who will allow you to stay with them, but I think it's far better to have a more transactional relationship, because, like, the relationship between the hostel and you is defined on, here's the money, I'll have a place to stay. Whereas, like, with couch surfing, you're not really sure what they want. Maybe they want some cultural stuff, activities, and I've heard stories of people, unfortunately, they want something sexually. So you have to be careful.
Well, with couch surfing, it's usually just like one day only, and then you're gone, right?
Yeah.
Like, no one's really stayed multiple days for a couch surfer.
Yeah, I've done like a couple days. Yeah. I was able to I was able to couch surf for one night in Madrid because I had no hostel whatsoever.
Okay.
And I booked too late, and so I was missing a night. And by that time, pretty much most of the hostels were booked.
Ooh.
So I'm like, I need a place to stay. Can someone help me? And at that point, that's when you should probably be using couch surfing.
Oh,
And it was great. It was a great location. It was right at the center of Madrid.
oh, nice.
It was like, whoa! Like, you have this place here. Like, yeah, you can stay here. Yeah.
Okay.
And he gave the place to me, and he had another apartment to go to, and so I had the place to myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
It was like a small, like, little attic apartment, so it had like a slanted roof.
It was slightly like an Airbnb in a way, but as a couch surfer, like, you weren't paying the Airbnb price in a way.
Yeah, it was free. Yeah.
That's
Well,
cool.
technically it wasn't free because he was like, I mean, there was, like, I was communicating with him, sharing stories, like
That was
like,
basically
that was the form of
like
payment.
like sharing stories.
Sharing stories, and sometimes, and now I kind of have a friend, because sometimes he greets me with, like, Merry Christmas or something.
Well, that's nice.
But he was an interesting guy. I'd say he was a writer, and he just recently wrote a novel.
Oh.
I haven't read it.
Do you know what kind of book it is?
It was like some weird sci-fi-ish / thing. It was about Silicon Valley.
And he was writing about here.
Yeah, he was writing about here. It's called El Rey de la Internet, I believe. It's the king of the internet.
Okay.
And I don't know what the plot is. But it was basically about, like, a semi fantasy world of like mix of like Silicon Valley and whatnot. The guy was really interested in Silicon Valley. He thought Silicon Valley was like this like very unique place.
Has he been here?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was invited to come here by like one like college to study like this area, and so he used the information that he learned here for his book. I haven't read his book. He didn't. The one thing he didn't do is like give. He
didn't show you a book. Okay.
He didn't show me the book.
He showed you the book,
but it was in Spanish.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, then the English translation hadn't been completed
published
yet.
How many pages is his book?
It looked like it was probably at least 400 pages.
Okay, so that's
fairly long.
Was it was it a thick big book, or was it like a small little?
I think it was more like this.
But reading wise, like if you opened it up, would it look like one of those bigger textbooks that you typed in?
I don't know. I guess
or
it was
like
this.
a little teen novel type.
I don't. It was
or like a
this.
Harry Potter book.
I think it was like a kind of like a big book, so it was kind of like that. And so I mean, it was pretty hefty. So you could tell it was like one of his like life's great work, you know.
Cool. Yeah. So you've had like during your whole trip, you had good adventures. You had like bad adventures, scary ones.
Yeah, I had. Okay,
so
like,
scared for your life. You're like, oh crap, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so there's one part. So I was with a friend in Chile, in a place called Viña del Mar, which is.
And this is a friend that you met like in a hostel or something.
Yeah. And then I met him, and then I met a couple of other people, and we decided, well, let's get out of here. Let's get out of Santiago, and let's go to let's venture off to Valparaiso. And we did, and by that time we decided to split up, and my friend was from like Argentina. He was a really friendly guy, really friendly. Like he escorted me to get like a bus ticket.
Okay.
And at one point while we were walking, I was sick at that time, so I spat on a tree on the sidewalk.
Okay.
So I was kind of had this like phlegm. So we kept on walking, but then I sensed something coming after me, like a shadow, just like coming straight, like on at the side, and then a couple of seconds later, this like homeless guy flanks me and slaps me on the cheek. True story.
What the fuck? Wait, okay, so let me guess.
True story.
That the tree that you spat on wasn't a tree, but it was the homeless man.
Well, it wasn't the homeless man. So what had happened was that his dog was near the tree, and he thought
that you
spat on his dog.
Oh.
And so he slaps me on the cheek, and my friend like turns around like, what the and I like we were surrounded, like this happened in front of a couple of people. This was in public.
Okay.
Like there were other people walking, like old ladies and stuff, going to the grocery store, and like slap, and then everyone like, oh, there's a big gasp, like what happened? And I couldn't understand the homeless guy, but my friend basically told me like he thinks you spat on his dog.
Oh.
Like I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
I thought that conversation was gonna go in a completely different direction. Like you spat on a tree, and because you're like in some other world area, it's like
we were in
this like
it was
shadowy.
It was in the city. It was like the Nazgul or something.
I thought we were going to like some sort of weird supernatural thing for a second. I'm like,
it's
what
far more.
It's more realistic. That makes a lot more sense, because I was just like, where is this story going?
Yeah, I was fine in the end, but that was like I wanted to punch the guy
just because he flanked you.
He flanked me.
I mean, he has a point, I guess.
Yeah, but to commit violence.
Oh,
I didn't intend to spit on his dog.
I mean,
why would there be a point to slapping someone on the cheek?
Did you not like try and guard yourself from it? You knew something.
He flanked me.
Like
so
he just like that.
I mean, I could feel like he was coming, but at the same time, my peripheral vision is terrible. That's why I wear glasses. But my glasses true. like they don't cover this part.
Okay. I got it. But that's like the most scariest bad experience that you had during your travels?
I guess one. I mean, there's a couple, but but I don't want to like.
Describe it.
I don't want to
Relive that experience.
because there's some parts I feel like too personal.
Oh, that makes sense.
But I guess like
As long as you didn't get like jumped and like.
yeah, there was no violence. I mean, like I made sure to like understand the area. I heard stories of like, especially in like Colombia, of people's phones being snatched.
Oh, that happens in a lot.
It happens
And in Asia.
anywhere. Yeah, in Asia. Well, yeah, in Asia, my phone was about to get snatched by someone. So some guy I was with, he was holding my phone because he didn't have internet on his, and so we were using my phone to like find someplace
Sketchy.
and then
Okay.
and then all of a sudden his hand gets hit.
Huh.
But he was able to hold on to my phone. But we find out that there was a guy on the motorcycle
Oh, that tried to
who
take
tried
it.
to take my phone. It was in Cambodia,
Oh shit.
and I'm like, luckily he had a good grip on my phone. And so,
Yeah.
but like guys, like when you're traveling, make sure to secure your phone, because your phone is like your go-to for your finance, for your navigation, for Google Translate especially.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And like communication, like without your phone, like you could lose your passport if you want. I mean, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. But with your but you can like go book a flight. Okay, of course don't lose your passport. Keep your passport.
Yeah,
of course.
keep it somewhere hidden on you. At
But
least.
I mean, like a wallet.
People don't really carry wallets much when they
Yeah.
travel outside of their
Yeah.
own country. Like some people do, but all types of forms of IDs, they keep it somewhere else. Like the
Yeah.
only thing they would keep on them technically is, you're not really supposed to keep your passport on you. You're supposed to keep it hidden.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But some people keep it on them, but hidden on them.
Yeah, like for some reason, my mom had had advised me, "Oh, make sure to have your passport with you." I'm like, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put it in the locker, like where it's safe."
Yeah,
like if something happens to me, like my wallet gets stolen, they could get my passport or something. Like keep your passport safe. I mean, just read the area. If you think like it's not going to be safe in the place you're staying, then take it with you. But at the same, but most of the time, like the hostels, they're pretty safe. Just keep it secure. Put it in a locker. Put it in your bag. Keep it in a part of your bag where no one can find it.
yeah.
Like just be cautious. Don't be
Safety first.
Don't be complacent about it. Yeah, safety first. Safety first. Okay. But yeah.
I mean,
keep your phone. Yeah, keep
So
your phone secure.
basically, the phone and the passport, the main two things.
Yeah, main two things.
Traveling, always be friendly.
Make friends. Yeah, like they
Who
have
knows
so
what
much
you can-
information. Always assume that you don't know a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Just like
Maybe they know something that you don't know.
Yeah.
There are places that they're like, "Oh, have you checked this place out yet?" I was like, "No, I haven't checked this out." I was like, "Oh, you should. If you want, I can go with you and show you the area or whatever." It's like that's always a fun little thing. But
yeah.
2 weeks, you said, is actually a good
Exactly.
a good time frame. Like 1
Yeah.
week's probably too short. And anything more than 2 weeks is just too long.
Yeah.
So.
One thing that is also really good is like our dating apps.
Okay,
Um,
like Tinder and all that other stuff.
yeah, when
They
you
actually
get-
work out there?
When you get a date, I did multiple dates.
Wow.
You basically get a free tour guide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I can see that.
It's great. Like
They'll be
they
like-
tell you where to go, where to eat. Like they tell you where the local.
Because a lot of them
places
will be like,
people
"What
eat.
do you want to do?" I was like, "Well, I'm not from here." And it's like, maybe you can show me around, and that's basically what
Yeah,
your date is.
exactly.
It's a,
And those tour guides can only give you so much. I think getting a date in their country allows you to get a feel of the place, to know on the condition that you speak the same language, of course.
yeah, of course.
But you get a feel of the place.
And some of them actually probably know English, so and they would probably want to practice it as well. So going on a date.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There, unfortunately, some dates I could barely speak with the person I was with.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of hard to get conversation, but at the same time, like the person would be showing me where to go, like what to do, and like here's a restaurant that he would go to and like to go eat and stuff. And so it was great. Like, but like only do this on the condition you're single and
Yeah, true.
and you don't have any commitments back at home. So
Yeah,
I was single, and so I was like,
I mean, unless you're in a relationship and they're okay with it, but then
yeah,
that's a
if you're
different
okay
story.
with, yeah,
It's
it's a different story.
I mean,
like,
if you're using it as like, I want a free tour guide, so I will go on a date, and I was like, and then they're okay with it.
Yeah.
As long as there's like no after foolishness for the end of the evening.
Yeah, don't, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, they don't. Some people don't expect something.
Yeah, they'll just be like, oh,
they're just so happy to like
someone's gonna
share their country, their city.
I was like, they like the visitors, and I was like, oh, you're an American. It's like, cool. I was like, was there any other interesting parts of your adventure that you had that's like memorable, or?
I mean, there's a ton of things that were very memorable.
But it's just too much to think.
I guess one of my highlights was Chile, because I got a cool group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we traveled for a bit, and I'm hoping to go back to Latin America. I would like to go visit Argentina, where some of these people are from, and Brazil, just to check out their place, school, and brush up on my Spanish, which I'm terrible at. I think one of my great highlights was going on a 10-day trek in the Himalayas.
Ooh.
And I had the option of either doing the Everest trek or the Annapurna one. The Everest one is pretty popular.
People die in Everest, don't they?
Well, they don't climb up to the mountain, like up to the summit of the mountain. They get to base camp and then they go back.
Oh, okay.
So but it's still like a while.
It's
still
high.
a trek. But it's more or less pretty good. What I did instead was Annapurna, so I didn't have enough time for Everest. But to me, Annapurna, according to other people, is probably a more beautiful trek than Everest.
Okay.
Because you basically start out in an area where there's like lush vegetation. When you do the Everest trek, you're basically at a certain altitude where there's just not enough oxygen or atmosphere for plants to live.
That makes sense.
So I started in an area where there's like forest, like still some forest, some vegetation, and you go through like this like cool 10-day trek. It takes about 2 to 3 days to get to the base camp, but you can take your time. So it took me about, I think, 6 days to get to Annapurna base camp, which is about 14,000 feet above sea level. Wait. Yeah, or something like that.
Just really high.
Or something, yeah. And it's like about, I think, 17 miles of trekking one way.
Okay.
So more or less like 30-ish.
Like round trip,
I think.
But it's like elevation too.
Yeah,
so.
but you're going up and down, and there are times where like I'm just for one full freaking hour, I'm just climbing stairs. I'm like, can we take a break? I think like
I need oxygen.
But yeah, it was really cool because like I got to see like the Himalayas, great views of the mountains, like villages, and got to meet some people along the way. To me, I have to go back to the RPG analogy, but it felt like an RPG.
Basically.
Because like
RPG.
you rest. And,
it's like an adventure here.
Yeah,
an adventure
and then
there.
you have to go into an inn. You gotta pay like your guild to
you're talking about like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah, to rest and to
recharge for the next day.
Yeah, exactly. And there are times where I'm just so freaking tired. And there was at one point when we were coming back from base camp, and what should have taken less. So I at that time my leg was getting really, really bad. Like my calf muscles were getting so tense. I screamed at one point. Like it just hurt. Like one thing when you're trekking, make sure to stretch every single day. I didn't do that. So my muscles were so freaking tense. I was so, like, my muscles were just so tired. I just wanted to give up. So I was just limping throughout that trek. So what should have taken probably about 5 hours of trekking, it took me 9.
Okay.
It took me 9 hours to get to the next village.
That sucks.
It really, I had a guide with me, and so he was able to carry some of my stuff.
Yeah.
But I was just, like, my leg was just felt so battered. Like, I've never felt something like that before. But at the same time, I feel so great, like, knowing that I had done that, because like, yeah, you know,
something to cross off the list.
Yeah, cross off the list. But yeah, I feel like
you
feel like a man,
accomplished.
kind of thing.
Right.
Like, yeah, you know. Oh, but yeah, like, I can still imagine that pain I had.
I could imagine that pain for you.
It's just like a rip. It's like, just felt like a rip.
Oh.
Like, like, I just wanted to scream.
Yeah, no, that I could feel the pain right now.
I was okay. I think my muscle just needed to recuperate, and it just needed to untense itself.
That makes sense.
It was just so tense from all the trekking, because I was just like,
climbing.
Yeah. But yeah, it was great. There was definitely some dangers along the way. There were a couple of avalanches. There was an avalanche that blocked one of the roads.
Okay.
And so we had to divert to another path where we had to cross a river, like, onto, like, rocks. We had to hop onto rocks in order to get to the other side.
RPG.
And by the time we got to base camp, it was like, it felt great, and it was really cold. It was really cold. You can take a picture of the sign, but it was really, really cold. Like, I mean, going to the bathroom was like an ordeal.
Okay.
But you get to snuggle up with people. Like, okay, not like that. I mean, like, you get to be in one place where it's like all warm and everyone's just like eating, talking, sharing stories. Where are you from? And blah 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 blah.
Okay.
It feels like one of those moments where it's like, yeah, I'm on a journey, man.
Yeah.
I'm with other travelers. Like you see, like, in, like, cowboy movies where, like, you're in the same saloon, like, you're like drinking some beer and talking about, like, yeah, I used to fight in the war, kind of thing.
Right.
But they didn't say that. Or, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, on that note.
Okay.
You've been tuned into this week's episode of Randumb Behavior. Catch us again next time.